all his messages, all the topics he takes in the various seminars by the storytelling. He creates a stories, and that really makes it comfortable and convenient for the audiences to relate with the facts, and it becomes easy because we can easily get integrated with the story and the facts, and it becomes easy to implement the same thing around our business environment. So that is the unique art he is possessing. He can talk on varied subjects, varied topics, but today we'll be talking to our audience by enhancing your user experience. So to learn from him, to know more about him, over to you, Mr. Mano Nair. Thank you.
Chartered Accountant Sachin Rokade, thank you so much for that warm introduction. Before that, Sarang Bhandari, thank you for connecting us. I'm looking forward to this particular meeting today with all of you. And so, let me start with a very simple Atiti Devo Bhava introduction to all of you. आप सबका स्वागत है, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप लोग अपना समय निकाल के आए. और मेरे ख्याल से सेल्स या बिक्री, इसके बारे में किसी को नई चीज बताने की जरूरत नहीं है. Everybody has their aspect of how to sell. Everybody sees what they would like to do. So before we start this session, actually, I'm sure there are about 100 people odd in this meeting room. Sarang, can we have a quick poll as to who is what in this organization, in this particular hall? If I could request all the participants just to tell us which background are you coming from. There are 5 options. I'm not playing Kaun Banega Crorepati, please. But just a simple thing. We'd like to understand you before we proceed further. So Sarang, can you do the needful, please? Sarang. So we start today with a very simple aspect, the journey of what sales is all about. In terms of sales, in the past, what people generally have an understanding, what I have noticed in the last 30 years, India is known to be a very price sensitive market, and everywhere across the globe too, people look at pricing as one of the aspects which really affects or boosts sales. So I have a very simple understanding that if you offer discounts, you get more sales. So there are about 30 to 40 types of discounts where people offer discounts and they increase sales. This is a general understanding that when I am offering more and more sales to my company or to my dealer or to my distributor, the one thing that always needs to come in is discounts, because everything is based on pricing. This is what I would like to call the traditional way of offering sales. And when we are talking of presenting a new change in that, can we go to the previous slide, please? Yes. Is it seen by everybody? Good, thank you. If you look at this as a very simple joke about, can I have your glasses so I may be able to see you better? This is what we are requesting you to do today. Can you change your glass from what you have been to what you're going to be in the next 30 minutes? Then I'm going to present to you a different point of view. Pricing never gets you sales. Pricing may get you volumes. Pricing may get you turnover. Pricing rarely gets you profitability. From my personal experience over the last 3 to 4 decades, when people see something of value, they're willing to pay for it. How many of you had your first sunglasses at Ray-Ban? How many of you have had your first glasses? There are first. Sure, you paid quite a lot for that. Remember the first good pen that you picked up? There are pens worth 25,000 rupees to 2,50,000 rupees. They do the same work as a 25 rupees pen or a 5 rupees pen. Why would somebody go in for a 2,50,000 pen? The simple reason is because they see value. Which brings me to the next point, that if you're going to move from your traditional way of selling to a new way of selling, we will need to add value. And how does one add value? If I do not know what exactly you want, how am I going to add value? People come to me for various reasons, or when I meet up people, they say we'd like to up or enhance our customer service. I say, what does the customer want? No, they will take whatever we want, but we need to enhance our customer service. How are we going to do that? So one of the things, I've prepared a small slide for that. Let me just share it with you. Next. Yes, this one. Take 5 seconds off and have a look at this. When I'm talking, I'm only repeating what I'm saying. Generally, salespeople have this thought that the more I talk, the more I present myself, the better it would be for the decision maker to decide what to buy. It doesn't happen, because unless I know what you want, how will I serve you? How will I bring that user experience? Before I touch upon that, let me just share something with you. All of you go to a restaurant, right? A hotel. I mean, आजकल कोविड का टाइम है तो या whatever, तो आजकल जा नहीं पाते, but जब भी आप जाते थे, वो यूजर एक्सपीरियंस अपना जो अच्छा वेटर है, जो स्टूवर्ड है, वो अपने को बताता था. वो एक्सपीरियंस देता था. क्या प्रोडक्ट लेने जा रहे हो, बेसिकली, और वो देखता था आपको कि आपको वड़ा छोटा है, बड़ा है, काला है, लाल है. यू कुड सी इट. चटनी क्या है, एंड यू जस्ट आस्क क्या चाहिए, वड़ा सांबर. Would he just come and give it to you, or would he ask you a few questions? Do you want it dipped? Do you want it separate? Do you want it mixed? Do you want this on the left? Do you want cold water? Do you want lukewarm water? That is what you're paying for. That experience is what you're paying for. Let's understand the simple basics. When you get back anywhere, experience is an emotion that is experienced by 100% of people across the globe in whatever they buy. Yes, whatever they buy, and 100% of people. I've been challenged on this, by the way. People have asked me, so what about Amazon? I mean, when I buy something on Amazon, it is just a robo and it's just a simple thing where somebody is asking, what do you want? Fill in a form and things like that. So I just asked them, who referred you to Amazon? It was a human being, right? It wasn't somebody who just came in from space. How did you know about those 500 apps which actually came up? Were you able to understand that and decide on your own? No. There was a person, or there were people who recommended that app, and that recommendation came in from a very simple knowledge. And that knowledge is what helped you pick up and decide which app you wanted to get into. So everywhere there is a human element. Artificial intelligence or no, or anything that goes on, please understand what we're sharing today is not the past of sales or business development. It's the present and will always remain the future. People always want Was this GUI, graphic user interface, friendly? What are they trying to tell you? Are they asking you whether the coding was good? No, they're asking you, how was your interface with a machine? Did it take long time to load? Did it not take long time to load? What happened? And that is what they wanted to find out. And hence, the user experience plays a very huge role. Now, one of the things that people ask me, so I'm into product. So where does the use case come in? I mean, they want a vacuum cleaner, or they want a calculator, or they want a computer. It is packed. It is Inspiron, Series, Dell, or if it's a pharma company, you have a particular product. I just give it across, and that's it. I receive the money. Where is the experience in that? Think about it. The person who's handing it to you, if he or she doesn't have a smile, doesn't give you an eye look, an eye contact, doesn't give you the money in your hand, just hurls it across the table, which when I mean hurl, he just puts it on the table. Do you feel really wanted at that store? Would you go back to that store even if it was the last store open at 11 o'clock? Unless, of course, the medicine was available or the medicine which you wanted was really important. Everyone who's called a human being is differentiated from instruments and artificial intelligence by a single feeling called emotions. And that particular emotions is what actually drives sales. So there is little difference whether you are handling a service or a sales. I mean, a service product, a sales product, a service product, a product sales. I'm speaking all this because I learned long in my career that if you can't convince somebody, confuse them. Out of confusion comes clarity. So here is one thing. When you are offering a computer, when you're offering a product, it is tangible. You can actually touch it. You can feel it. But let's say it's a travel agency. Let's say it's a booking agency. Let's say it is a doctor. Let's say it's a consultation. Let's say what I'm doing right now. Is this a product or a service? You're receiving this product from a laptop. But what you're reaching out and what I am reaching out to you is actually just a service. But this service is brought to you by so many tangible service providers. But can you actually reach out to me? You can. Can you interrupt me? Perhaps no. So even when I'm talking to you, if I had not done and met the 150 odd people in the last week deciding what would be a good topic, I would not be able to say anything. Because sales is such a vast topic. And when I say boost your sales, there are 20,000 things that you can do today. Are we talking of Facebook promotions? No. Are we talking of Twitter promotions? No. Are we talking of being a thought leader? No. I am just coming to a very simple aspect of life, which is one, please know your user. And I'm not saying customer, I'm not saying client, I'm talking of the user, the person who's going to use your service or your product. That is a person who generates that demand. Just to give you a small story, I was long ago into something which is called consumer goods, whether they were white or black, white goods, black goods. I'm not getting into those details, but we had distributors and our company name was not very well known. We were just young. I'm talking of the Asiad time when the Asiad cricket and football and everything was launched in 1980s. And at that particular point of time, going to a distributor and asking for an advance was a novel thing. So he would say, "Ye maal kahan bikne wala hai? Where is this product going to be sold?" I said, "Don't worry, the dealers would be picking it up." So where are the dealers? You have to point them. The dealers would ask the same question, where is this going to go out? The retailers will pick them up. Where are the retailers coming from? That's why we had to go to the market and create a demand. So we would go house to house, we would go society to society, we would stand on the streets and give demonstration of our products. And when those people wanted the product, we would say it is available at this retailer. When that goods started moving from that retailer, the dealer would be called upon, the distributor would be called upon. That's what today is called a supply chain management. But did the distributor pick it up? Did the agent who was a carrying and forwarding agent pick it up in the first place by giving us 50 lakh rupees? No. We had to create the demand downline. That is one of the sales. Why did this happen? Because a person who we interacted, who was the ultimate user of the product, could actually feel the product, could actually know what a washing machine is, could know that his clothes would not be torn, could know that this would actually dry clothes up to 95% even in rainy season, could actually know that it would take just about 5 minutes, could understand the benefits firsthand. And even today, I'm sure all of you will agree, word to mouth publicity is one of the biggest demand creators of sales. So what is sales to me? Let me share that with you. Sales to me is a very simple thing. You need somebody who has a product or a sale, service. You need a person needs it. The second thing is the person needs to have the capacity to pay. This payment could be in terms of exchange, it could be in terms of barter, it could be in terms of gold coins, it could be in terms of dollar payment, it could be in terms of Paytm, rupee, whatever transactions. So payment could be done in any of those ways. The third thing is the willingness to pay. You see, you give a lot of things to a lot of people that I'll do this, I'll do that. But the willingness is the intent to pay. Why do you think companies or other people have an issue in people getting payments? They say we don't have the funds, we don't have this. Is it willingness to pay? Because once you've decided that you're going to have 20 lakh kilometers of road, and there are people who have put in that money from their pocket, when they don't get paid, it is not the capacity to pay. It's not the desire to pay. It is about the willingness to pay. Anyway, that would be how to create the willingness. We'll talk about that in terms of pure sales some other day. Today, I'm going to talk about how do you create a need? Again, user interface. Let me share something with you. This has been one of my favorite cartoons for quite some time. Somebody who's actually looking at running a business generally runs it as a number game. You know, I have got 10 lakh units to be sold this week. I've got 20 lakh or 20 crore PCs to be sold. I've got so many tons of chemicals to be shared in the market. That may make you who you want. But what we're talking of today is one of those things which could actually boost your sales. Let's start from home. I was about 6 years of age that time. And this is my story about a family. Today, a beautiful artist, a beautiful person, and has grown up and has taught me a lot about sales and understanding the user requirement. She one day told me, "Dad, will you get me a chocolate on your way back?" I said, "Yeah, when I finish my training, I'll get it." And as always, I forgot. In the evening, she asked me, "Chocolate lie?" I said, "No, I forgot." 3 days later, "Chocolate lie?" No, I forgot. 1 week later, "Chocolate lie?" I forgot. My wife would tell me, "You can't take care of the small thing of a chocolate." I mean, I understand that you're back-to-back training or something, that's what you're coming in late. Itna nahi kar sakte. I said, "Okay, kal pakka leke aunga." And the next day I kept an alarm. I told my faculty, co-faculty, Ajay, I said, "Boss, you need to tell me that I have got to get Ashna the chocolate, okay?" So 10:30 when we were returning, suddenly he told me, sir, wo chocolate lana. I said, thank you, Ajay, very much. I need to pick up the chocolate. We went to this place and I said, do you have silk? And the guy asked, sir, kapde ka dukan to nahi hai. I mean, it's not a cloth shop. I said, no, silk is a new chocolate which has come in. So anyway, there was no idea of silk. Later on, to cut a long story short, I didn't get the silk, but I picked up something else. I picked up 5-star and I went. Same product, Cadbury, silk nahi mila. 5-star. My daughter just looked at this. I wanted silk. If you don't try it, that. And I was like, look, I did all the night and I picked it. He said, thank you. Left the chocolate there. That evening, I decided wherever I could get a silk, I'm going to get it. Went to a major store, picked up a silk, came back, got it very well packed, gave it to my daughter. And you know what the result was? I got one of the best hugs a father can get. If that is not user experience, then you tell me what is. We still live in a world where we want to give people what we have or what we can give. Can we look at something which people want and what they would like to give it in the way they would like to give it? I think a lot of relationships can be solved this way. We're not talking only about sales here. We're talking of networking. We're talking of a relationship. Because in order to get recommended, even that word to mouth, you need to have a very powerful understanding of the word reference. We'll leave that for some other day. I'm going to take your idea to some another slide. This is what we're saying. Are we online or? Okay. So, no, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it. I'm just trying to figure out. Where did this fit in? I have a friend who says that I sell anything from pin to plane, and he's going to turn over about 50 crores per annum. I keep telling him that you're not selling steel. That's why I specifically have this. Whatever product you're selling, please understand, it's not what the product you're selling. It's what the product can do to that person, to help that person. When you had disposable syringes, it wasn't about buying too many syringes. It was about the safety each syringe promised the customer. The trust was built because the customer knew that after every syringe usage, this would be broken. I will get a new syringe. And that promise was a service. That is what people bought. It wasn't that syringe people got. So please understand, the moment you are thinking of user, I'm only going to talk about user experience. Please write down this for all of you who are attending me today, my thoughts today. Please write down at least 5 points how your product or service is going to add value. Because when I talk about the way forward, which is the last point today I'm going to talk of, the way forward is one, self-reflection on what you've been doing so far. Is it helping you? If it is, great, continue doing it. What is that you can change? And what will get you better results? These are two things that needs to come in. And what is the way forward? Whether people are doing it or not, please do it. Because when a particular company called us for selling spare parts in a tractor division, we didn't know anything about spare parts. We didn't know the tractor division. Let's put it that way. Manuscript Communications, Ajay, Suman, Naina, Anju, me, we all work for a company called Manuscript Communications. We didn't know much about tractors. And that's where the new thing. We know people, and people are there everywhere. So here's the entire story in a very small thing. What is the way forward then is the story I'm going to leave you with. When we were told that the spare parts needs to come up, we didn't get into sales training. We didn't get into anything. We went into the entire psychology. We spent about 3 months visiting people and trying to figure out how did this entire process
Yeah, just a minute. There is some technical issue. We are going to solve this. Hello. Yeah, just a minute. Just a minute. We are solving this issue. Small disconnection of internet. Start. Start. Go ahead.
good. So my technical team tells me to go ahead and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank this guy called Murphy. You know, Murphy's law, if something has to go wrong, it will go wrong just at the same time as you're not expecting it to happen. So brilliant. So in spite of all our efforts over the last 2 days to fix up all technical snags there, just to say that if things go wrong, they do go wrong. But you continue picking up from where you left out. And that's my story. That's what I'd like to share with you. So when we went to this particular company and we went back, we found we found one simple aspect where we could give an input. And believe me, it took us about 2 months to explain to them how critical this absolute requirement was. What were we there for? We were there to discuss, explore, and maybe design, and maybe deliver a sales program for a tractor company for picking up the sales and service. What sales? Spare part sales. What service? Spare part service points. Yeah, that was the agenda given to us. What did we do? We just concentrated on one single point, which was called the usability friendly change. And what we did was we brought in this word called Namaste at all their service stations, where a tractor owner would bring in his vehicle. You know, this vehicle stopping thing, the parking thing, it's a brilliant thing. आप किधर भी गाड़ी लगा दो, whether it is a 5-star, 7-star, 2-star, anywhere. I mean, the moment you stop your car, the moment you stop your car, the moment you stop your truck, the moment you stop something, there is one guy who's always going to come and tell you, oh, you know, it is just 6 inches. You know, it's just 1 feet. What difference does it make? That's my irritation. No, but that guy wants to prove a point. He'll say, let, 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 let. You know, I'm sure all of us have been irritated by this thing. That is the user friendly I'm talking about. How does it boost sales? Let me quickly come to it. The story took over 3 years to build. So I'm just going to tell you in about 3 minutes. Just to cut a very long story short, we made sure that when the tractor owner came to the service station, he was welcomed with a small token, that this is a token, this is your number, please go to the reception. And what happened at the reception is a different story. I'm just telling you one part of it. The moment he got down, he was surprised. Somebody telling him, Namaste, here's your token, give me your vehicle. And the person who would take the vehicle would park it in a proper way, wherever he wanted it, aage, piche, 6 inches, 10 inches, right, left. You know, it took away a whole lot of botheration from this guy. the tractor owner. Another thing that happened was he started feeling welcome. The moment he started feeling welcome, let me give you the other side of the story. He stopped going to the local mechanics. This was studied over the last 6 months. When he stopped going to the local mechanics, the spare parts, the AMC, the other detailing, which was required for the tractor, because one of the biggest things that happen in the tractor industry or any industry like this, which is agriculture driven, and India has got 45% plus agriculture produced coming in. साहब आपका ट्रैक्टर तेल बहुत पीता है. That requires proper understanding. What is he talking of? Where is he using the tractor? So many things. So when we're talking of all this usability study, far more than 30%. The people who were retained into the service stations increased by more than 15%. All this in just about 6 months. There are many more stories that I'd like to tell you. I'd love to share these stories with you because that's what when somebody tells me a storytelling, it's not about statistics. It's about what you did for somebody that person remembers you. You know the first Prime Minister of Japan? Do you know the first Prime Minister of India? Maybe you do. Maybe. Do you know the first teacher who taught you? You'll never forget because that teacher contributed something into your life. Do you remember your first friend in school? You'll never forget. That is exactly what we're talking of when we talk of boosting your sales. Sales is not just a transaction. Sales is a bridge to making a new customer. And that customer is what actually lights up everybody's house. It's a chain reaction. So just to recap, the traditional sales go by just price. The general sales go by numbers. I'm saying understand that this is not the only thing that needs to be fought off. You have something which is called understanding what the customer wants, giving the customer what he or she wants, and having the privilege of having loyal customers, not just loyalty card holders. There's a big difference between loyalty card holders and loyal customers. What is the difference? Somebody asked me. Sarang, when you ask me what is the difference between loyalty card holders and loyal customers, let me just repeat what I told you for everybody else before I hand it over to Sachin. Loyalty card holders give their cards to anybody to use those loyalty points. Loyal customers come to you every time, personally, to experience your beautiful cup of tea and that warm smile and give you business and get their friends to do business with you. How many such customers do you have? Those, my friends, is your business. That is the sales that is going to get you profitability. Thank you very much for listening. I said about 40 minutes. I think without timers, I've spoken for 40 minutes. I've communicated. Let's put it that way. Thank you very much. Over to you, Sachin. If there are any questions, I'd love to take them on.
Participants are requested to put their questions in chat box. Due to technical issues, we cannot unmute because the surrounding voice will come. So you are requested to put your sessions in the chat box. So we will continue the question and answer session. Manoj sir, there is one question that how to regain existing customers. This question might be in the light of Corona COVID-19 situation. So how to regain is the wording. That's why I'm interpreting. So how to regain the existing customer? That is the question coming up.
Could I have the person also say, if you could ask, because I could interpret it any which way, since we have some time on hand. Could you ask?
They have come up with the word that how to retain instead of regain, how to retain. So the customer is not yet lost, customer is there. So how to retain the existing customer?
And is it a service product or is it a
That's not mentioned. We can have answer for both, so the other audience will also get some idea.
Okay. I'll take a cue. You want me to be vague. You don't want me to be specific. So I'll take the cue. Um, why do you want to retain that customer? Rhetorical question. I want you to answer this yourself. Why do you want to retain that customer? Is that customer giving you business and you're making profitability out of it? Is it something that the customer is able to give you, or that client is able to give you name, fame, or some kind of future connections? The moment you answer this question, you'll also understand how you can retain.
Okay.
The why is very important. Unless I understand the why, the rest of it is not clear.
So the one who has asked question, the perception must be that why, because the existing customer is the one who is who might be continuously giving the business, but retaining the customer in the competitive market, that must be the perception.
See, it's a very clear understanding, and these are part of statistics and things like that, that customer retention is much easier than creating a new customer. But I really like to understand, why do you want to retain a customer? Unless that why is clear. You see, let me just share another anecdote, a very simple thing. I was called for a particular training. In fact, a company had come up with a very particular thought, which was told that dealer training needs to be done. And it was just a regular training. And it happened right from, or it was planned right from zonal managers with 15 to 20 years of experience to people um, below 6 months of experience who were just out of college graduates. And the thing is, people who were there till 2 years of experience had no idea what the dealer is doing in that system. The dealer is a very important pivot in the system. He's a very big influencer to the local markets, to the local rural areas, to the other places where the dealer was very strategically placed. If the person who was handling that account is not very clear as to what the role is, the why part of it,
Okay.
then it would be more or less futile to tell a person, "Arey, uske paas se order lekar aa jao." You know, it wouldn't really make sense. And that is why competition steps in, because if you don't look after your customers, your competitors will. That's the whole idea.
Okay. So the next question is whether sales is important or marketing in a consulting business. That's a tricky question.
No, it's not a tricky question. It's just playing with words.
Yeah.
Marketing doesn't get you money, sales does.
Okay.
Marketing tells people who you are.
Okay.
Sales actually shows people who you are. Marketing can tell you that you will receive this by this, by this, by this, by this, by this, and technical definitions and all those hoardings and everything else, and whatever else you want to do in marketing. And right at the bottom, you have something which is called a 4-point description. The above illustration may not be the exact product you get. That is marketing. What is sales? Sales is, this is the product. This is what will write for 1 kilometer. So whatever else you do, sales actually makes you stand in front of your customer just the way you are. He can experience, or she can experience, your product and your service. So sales is actually the transaction point, not marketing.
Okay. So the next question is, in COVID situation, most sales experience will be non face to face. In this scenario, how will you explain the concept?
I don't want to hear anything more. That's the last of the questions I'm taking. Okay, thank you so very much. I need to leave now because I'm very busy. This is a non-COVID situation or a COVID situation. How do you talk on the phone? Chartered accountant Sachin, I just spoke to you on the phone. Was I rude? Yes. Did I startle you? Yes.
Yeah.
Did you say I don't want to talk to this guy ever again? Who the hell does he think he is? So whether it is COVID, non-COVID, or whatever, your voice makes a difference. Do you see the difference in my pitch? And now if I tell you, yeah, you know what, forget it. I'm not here to make anybody feel good. I've always found whether you like me or dislike me, am I being effective? That's important. And if you're effective in that, then your voice control, your presentation, your choice of words needs to be good. And when I say good, it needs to hit the nail on the head. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah. Voice mail. Okay, so the next question coming up is that in the global market scenario, how to identify the taste, need, and necessity of the customers with different cultures.
I think I did I yell too much? The ball has got lost out of the field. Okay. Brilliant. So now,
Okay, so
Hello. Yeah, Manoj sir, can you hear? Manoj sir, just Manoj sir, can you hear me?
just close it. I can definitely hear you, sir.
Okay, okay, great. So Sachin, over to you. You can for next question.
yeah. So in the global market scenario, how to taste the need of the customers? That was the last question.
Okay. I just realized one simple thing. Just because I raised my voice, even the internet connection broke off. Was it that way, Sachin?
Yeah. No, that.
Okay. So could you repeat the last question? So I hope I did not really interrupt and not answer that question. I'd like to do justice to that question if it is not completed.
Yes. The question was in the global market scenario,
Hmm.
how to identify the need and taste of the customers in different cultures.
Okay. I think the best way is to ask them. Honestly, the best way is to ask them. And understand that you may have to do it once, twice, thrice, but ask them. My experience across cultures, across countries, at least about 7 countries that I have been to, is to actually ask them. And they're good enough to tell you. Some of them may not, but that's the best way to find out. Instead of assumption, assumption is a big killer of business.
Okay.
There's no point in finding out, reading Google and all that. See, let's just ask a German. I mean, let's be very clear. Somebody from German nationality has a particular way of working. Just ask him, what time do you want me there tomorrow? What would you like me to get? How would you like me to do it? When do you want this to be delivered? Simple, straight questions. And I think we need to start asking them. Don't assume.
Okay. Yeah. Next question coming up. Should I ask my sales team to do sales, or I should also be in the process as the owner of the business?
Mr. Business Owner, it is your child.
Hmm.
Always remember that. The sales team is always going to be foster care. Unless, of course, you make them one of them directors and things like that. So it is your baby. बीच में एक आधा बार क्रश में क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा है फील्ड पे जाना बहुत ज़रूरी है. I'll tell you a simple anecdote that when I was also at a position of maybe the vice president or the president of a company, my director one day asked me, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm at Mercedes Benz. What are you doing there?" I said, "I've just come to meet these guys for a cup of tea, man." "Arey, you shouldn't be selling." I said, "I'm not selling. I just came here to meet them." And that's the time I got a feedback as to how bad our previous conference was. They didn't want to tell us because we were so good friends. And because they were able to vent it out to me, the next conference, which was about 6 months later, was actually discussed right then and there and closed even before they went to the competition. So that's my simple suggestion to you, not recommendation, but you run your own business. All the people who are at the top, wherever you are, reach out, go to the ground floor. That's very important. I'll share a small story here about sales. Sachin,
Yes.
would you like to tell a story?
Yeah.
The chairman of Hindustan Lever Limited has been acknowledged as one of the biggest person with feet on the ground. It seems that one day he was in Calcutta, and instead of staying at wherever he was, he decided to have breakfast outside. So he's walking around at about 6 o'clock in the morning. It's the day, Monday, and he walks around and he asks for some toothpaste and some allied articles from various shops. You know, the small shop, jisko hum pan tapri bolte hain, chai ka tapri bolte hain, and so on and so forth. And the person says, "No, sir, there is no stock. There is no stock. Can I give you something else? Can I give you something else?" Now the Sheth, that's his name, as well as he's the chairman of the company, he is incensed. He is absolutely pissed off. And what he does is, at the beginning of the conference, he is supposed to address. And this is how he starts the address. So how many of you have actually gone to the field today? 15 days ago, 1 month ago? Now those reports don't mean anything. Those writings don't mean anything. Those forecasts don't mean anything. Because your chairman has been on the street, which is called Park Street, and he has found 15 shops where his toothpaste is not available. What are you going to do about it? That was the end of the sales conference. So keeping your feet on the ground is very important. You need to depend, you need to trust on people, but you also need to keep your own links. I'm not talking of micromanaging. This could be taken as some other way. So I'm just explaining from my point of view. You also need to be in touch with certain clients, some customers, some users. You need to have your feet on the ground. But that doesn't mean micromanaging. I'm being very clear. Thank you, Sachin. Sachin, I am not able to hear you.
Yes. So the question coming up is, how do you enhance our sales team now, and what will be the expectation after COVID? So the question is coming up in the light of COVID.
I can't answer the latter part of it because after COVID means when? When the lockdown is lifted, you're able to go out, or when the entire situation is cleared. So that's a very vague thing. So let's look at how you're going to enhance your sales team. Let's start in the reverse order. Ask them what they want to do. If they don't want to sell your product, let them go. Ask somebody else to come in. Very dramatic, no?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. If you don't trust your product, if you don't have faith in your product, if you don't have the guts to say yes or no to a customer based on what your feeling is about your product, it does not work. That relationship does not work. That, forget the sales, the bridge does not set up. So the first thing about enhancing your customers, internal customers, your salespeople, is to get them build their confidence level. And once that is done, then improve on their presentation pitches. Thank you. COVID or no COVID, you need to be confident on what you're saying.
Okay. So the next question is, sir, please tell how to improve or boost your sales. Any shortcuts? Are there any shortcuts?
Dumb kar do discounts. I told you there are 45 types of discounts, which I have just listed out.
Yeah.
There are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts.
Okay.
Unless it is, you know, I'm always surprised. You go to a shop, for example, you go to any shop and it says sales. Sale is on. Which means, what is the reason for opening a shop if it is not to sell? To buy? I mean, have you ever seen a shop which says buy? Why do I need to write sales over there? It's like you're there for a purpose of earning a profit. If you're not earning a profit, what are you doing in the business?
Okay.
So there are no shortcuts as far as I'm concerned. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So shall I take next question, sir?
Please, please, please.
Yeah. Again, the questions are coming up in the light of COVID-19, sir. You are again and again mentioning COVID or non-COVID, but people, although entrepreneurs are really disturbed because we Indians are not used to with such situations. So we are receiving some questions, and I'm asking you the same question. In this
Please.
global pandemic situation, yes, sir, please, yeah.
Please go ahead.
Okay. In this global pandemic situation, one of the most severely affected business is travel business. Specifically talking about a rent-a-car business. Considering the situation, next 6 months looks difficult on the new sales and retaining existing sales. There is a zero volume in business. How to sustain, or considering the fixed cost of business, how much time should we sustain in the travel business? So he's looking for some break-even point, I think, because fixed cost is already there. So that is the question, that how to sustain. That's it. Specifically to travel industry.
Okay, let me just share something with you. I'm taking this case study just like that. Okay, Sachin, I want you to be participative, and I hope it makes sense. Please understand, I am being brutally honest here. I'm not here to hurt anybody, nor am I going to offer you any sugar-coated pills. I'm just talking, जिसको हम बोलते हैं वास्तविक. What is the ground reality is what I'm telling you. Let's understand, what if your fleet of 2 cars were just parked that way? Your tires would be hampered, your battery would be hampered, the car cleaning, the other detailing would all be there, right? The expenses would be there anyway. Yes or no? The question is, it is a yes. You would still have to pay the EMI, you still have to do a lot of things. And what's going to help you? Nothing. On the other hand, supposing these same 2 cars, one of them was employed in public service. Let's put it this way, that you're going to help the police or the old people travel from one area to the other, and obviously take permission and things like that. You know what would happen? You might spend a little bit of money. And a little bit would mean close to 3,000-4,000 rupees a month. Maybe वो नहीं है आपके पास, मेरे पास नहीं होगा, whatever. But supposing you are able to achieve that, like most people are doing it, you would be able to reach out to people, give them food, you would be able to help people out, you would be in the middle of the limelight, people would recognize you, people would recall you. And once this thing is over, who do you think they're going to recall? This is what indirect marketing is, in case I need to ask you to indirectly market. This is called working for a social cause. So now one has to decide, should I keep my car parked there, wait till the pandemic is over, or can I do something about it? Like I remember 3 of us just got and went to the local police station and asked them, can we do something for you? And they said, please do us a favor, stay at home. We continued asking this for at least 1 week. And the 8th and 9th day, they said, can you stand here, take a stick and tell these people to at least cover their mouths? That was the simplest job given to us. We've been doing it for such a long time. Now the police people and other people recognize us as social workers. We are not social workers. Once this thing is done, we're getting back to business. But that is where society at large needs to also contribute. So each of us will find something to contribute. I know of people who are passing on food and other essentials to other people. People who are ill privileged or not privileged. Maybe you could use your cars for that. That is about the fleet of car owners. Now let me take about the travel industry. The travel industry, unfortunately, whatever has happened, is not a single hit, one-time affair. It's been there for quite some time. Use this time to spend time with your family, one. Second, research something different. For example, have you ever taken people to Manipur? Have you ever taken people to Agartala? Have you ever taken people to Mohenjo-daro? Have you ever taken people to why take them to Paris? Take them on an India Darshan. Give them memories. So use this time for planning. Make yourself different, make yourself unique, so that when this whole thing is lifted, you're able to come to a situation where you're ready for that war. You know what peacetime does? Peacetime is a time to remove your guns, polish them, oil them, get the right bullets. Your business, rethink. That's what I would say. So this is a gift which has been coming to you. Take it whichever way. I'm not happy with the pandemic. What can I do? I don't know. I don't get a single paise talking to you. Am I talking this for money? No. But will this get me money? I don't know. We were just a group of friends who just got in together and let's say, let's try it for 1 week. Let's see if it works out. Anyway, what are we doing? Let's share our experience with people. ये पूरे चीज में एक का भी भला हो गया. God bless. बस एक छोटी बात बोलता हूँ, बहुत बड़ी पहुंच है इसकी. उम्मीद पे दुनिया जीती है, ये किसी ने मुझे 40 साल पहले बोला था. आज भी उम्मीद पे ही दुनिया जी रही है. आपके आईफोन पे या फिर पुराने घड़ी पे जब आप कल सुबह का अलार्म रखते हो ना कि मैं 6 बजे उठूंगा, वही तो उम्मीद है ना दोस्त. उसके ऊपर तो जी रहे हो ना. पैंडेमिक और नो पैंडेमिक, थर्ड वर्ल्ड वॉर और नो वर्ल्ड वॉर, आप उम्मीद पे जी रहे हो. अब उम्मीद को खरा करने के लिए कुछ करो. Do something different. Because if you also start talking like everybody else, it doesn't work out. So फिर people will go to your competitors. So use this time to create a unique offering. That's what I would say. That is not the solution, but it is a direction. Thank you so much for asking.
So participants, few questions are coming up. So we will be, so you are most welcome to remain in the session for the question and answer points. So the next question is coming up that can you chalk out 5 steps plan to improve customers experience?
1, train the customer to be more customer friendly or more product friendly or more salesman friendly. Sachin, could you re-ask me that question, please? I can take it any which way. That question is not clear. 5 steps for whom? The customer or for me?
To improve customer experience. So it must be for me, for the salesperson.
You're assuming that. Could you read that question again? I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so I'm asking that participant to repose the question. Till that we'll take the next question. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So that will give more light. Yeah.
Sachin, I'm repeating again for knowledge of everybody else. This is not being rude. This is just understanding what I actually fundamentally want to know. If I have a question which I don't understand, I'm at liberty to ask the question another 20 times before I say, yes, I got that question. This is my response. But if I give my response without understanding that question, it is entirely my fault. It is entirely my purview, my problem, my issues. That's what I'm putting it across. So this is just practice of what I'm doing also.
Yes.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So the next question is, what is the way to highlight our product promise to customer? So the meaning of the question must be how we should highlight what how our product is promising product to the customer.
Actually, I think that this is a very good question. And you see how I'm talking?
Hmm.
You heard it, right? So my product could be the best. But if I talk like this, if I'm going to present myself like this, it's not going to happen. Let me give you a very simple example. About so many decades ago, my friend and I went and closed a sale, a very difficult sale. We were talking to the number 4 ad agency in the country, and we were able to close that person after 3 months of follow-up. And here's the good thing. That particular day, he gave us a check of 6,669 rupees, 6,669 rupees. I remember it was drawn on a Bank of India check of Pedder Road. And got that check. We were very happy. And we were trained. We were trained. The moment you get the money, get out. Don't wait for tea. Don't wait for coffee. Don't wait for anything. So we took the check and we were walking out. And my friend was already out of the room. And I was just stepping out. And the managing director of the number 4 agency of the country at that time asked a question. You sure this will work, right? I mean, what he meant is a product. And I responded, I hope so, sir. दिल तो बच्चा है जी, कुछ भी बोल दिया जी. And the maturity of the MD taught me a lesson. He said, can you come here 1 minute, please? Can you call your colleague also? I said, sir, what happened? क्योंकि दिल में तो लिखा है कि ट्रेनिंग में भाग जाओ. So he called me. He said, maybe I think I have written the check incorrect, you know. So my colleague has said, yeah, in my hurry, I have not seen the check. एक बार उसको check दे दे. Let's see what if it has to correct. So he looked at the check. Everything was fine. And he tore the check in front of us into bits and pieces. And he said, when you're sure, come back. If you're not sure, you cannot help a customer. You cannot enhance your customer's dreams. You're there to provide a service. And the service doesn't fit into his life. And if you're not sure about it, how do you expect sales to happen? Sachin, please go ahead.
Yeah.
If I've answered that question, good. Otherwise, if you think you need to repeat the question for me to give you another angle to it, I'm willing to do that.
No, I believe that that is answered in a better way. Yeah. So the next question is a very good question actually. How to cope up with the one-time user customers? The product is a one-time use product. The participant has given example like solar.
Sachin,
Yeah.
do you know the customer? Do you know the person who's posted this question?
No, sir. No.
Okay. Because I just thought he's your friend or you want to highlight him. Because this is a very good question, which means, in very simple terms, the questions before this were not good questions. See, perception. Do you realize this? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, a one-time use could also be your refrigerator, could also be your fan, could also be your air cooler, could be an AC. You use it for a month and then for 9 months you just keep it there. So what is the question? I am defining one-time use. What is the question?
Not one-time use, a one-time sale, or the customer may not be buying that product regularly. Like solar, he has given example of solar. So I have installed solar on my terrace. So that solar is having a life of say 5-6 years. So again, I will approach that particular supplier after 5-6 years. So the question is from the angle of the supplier.
Okay, let me put it this way. Let's take this person's name, whoever has written this question. His name is, let's say, Rajesh. Okay.
Yes.
So Rajesh sells a solar to Sachin, and it's a one-time sale. Goodbye, Sam. Goodbye, Martha. Tata. Bye-bye. See you. You have no use to me. This is one aspect of it.
For lower, 5 is for higher.
And here is the other customer who Sarang sells to. Sarang goes to this particular customer and says, Prasad, I was just passing by from here. I just want to see if your solar is working properly. Can I just have a look at it? Now, there is no need for Sarang to go and meet this customer. Absolutely no need. But when he does, the customer comes to a simple understanding or a realization that Sarang, C-A-R-E-S, cares for me. And that caring is what the customer remembers, and the next time he is at somebody's place, जहाँ पे गर्म पानी में dipper डालता है, या solenoid iron डालता है, या whatever, he says, instead of doing this, can I send my boy Sarang, who has actually helped me put this thing? It's working very well. In fact, वो बीच बीच में आके check भी करके जाता है. Last time धूल मिट्टी था, वो आके गया. Is it necessary? No. But when you start caring for a customer, the customer cares for you. That is how you handle. So there's nothing like one-time sale, boss. Service is multiple sales. Sales is always one-time affair for anything. You go back and you take people back because of your service, or because of service you receive, because of the emotions you receive, because of care you receive. I hope that makes sense to the person who's asked the question. Okay, that's what we do.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Okay. The next question must be from the manufacturing person. He's talking about that how to talk on a cost incurred to make a product if the cost is only a matter to close a deal.
There are 2 or 3 ways of looking at it, honestly. I mean, let's put it this way, dishonestly also. If somebody wants the entire charge, take them to a hospital. Can I tell you a story?
Yes, yeah. Yes, sir.
There was this factory which was closed down in Manchester for quite some time, 1 or 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. And the production was getting hampered. And there was a necessity to find somebody. So they called a lot of people in the surrounding areas, please come and fix up our factories. What do you call that running thing? The bed on which the entire production belt runs, conveyor belt. The conveyor system was not working. People came, people went, nothing happened. Finally, they called a person from the village, an old mechanic who came with a hammer and a chisel. I think the story is known to a lot of people, but let me just share this again for the benefit of all those people who don't know. This guy with a hammer and chisel came in. He asked everybody to vacate the factory. He went in. He did a lot of introspection. Half an hour he was alone, and everybody said, "As a fellow died. He's an old guy. What happened?" So they heard 2 big knocks, 2 big hammer hits. And then he came out and he said, "You can start it." And lo behold, what people of the best caliber could not do, this guy had done. When they switched on the machine was running. The works manager was so happy. He said, "Boss, you give me the bill right now. I'll pay you." So he took out a bill pad on a small piece of paper and he said, £100. And the works manager said, £100 for 2 blows. So the mechanic, looked at the works manager and said, "Well, the hammer blows are free. Where to hit and how much to hit, I've charged you for that." Similarly, when somebody wants to know your costing, he or she doesn't want to know the costing. Look at it that way. He or she wants to know, how can you make that costing of yours fit into their costing so that they can proceed further. Which is why, fortunately, unfortunately, when I get about 10 inquiries, 3 of them don't close. Reason being, even today after 30 years, people say, "Ye to bahut mehenga hai, ye to nahi hoga." I said, "Then give me your budget." "No, we don't have a budget. If you don't have a budget, then this is my budget. And when I give my budget, no, this is." So on what basis the reference point drawn? Some people are not sure. I'm not saying I'm fully successful. I have my shortcomings too. So I'm sharing it publicly. But can you be direct with a customer and ask that person, "Look, boss, you give me a figure. Let me see if I can work in that. You give me a timeline. Let me see if I can work in that. You give me a quality time. Let me see if my quality fits into it. You give me a batch time. Let me fit the batch into that. Let me see a packing. Let me see if I can fit into that. Let me see a destination. Let me see if I can fit into that." There are so many aspects. Is it only about price? No. Unfortunately, only price is projected ahead. And that is incorrect. For example, in a construction industry, in an architectural firm, in a design firm, wherever in the world, you have something called bill of material. I mean, people get that bill of material, they'll do anything to get that bill of material, they will do anything, means anything. And once you have the bill of material, okay, Yogesh, ये spare part number hai, how much will you supply this for? Why should I? Because everybody is doing the same thing. But for me to get the bill of material, are you paying me for that? No. That is where the money should come in. So you need to have that kind of a discussion with your customer. And that customer needs to be open with that. If I have survived all these years, I'm fortunate to have those few customers with me who have stayed with me, who have stayed with me for the last 10 years of our journey. We don't have 100 clients, but we have certain clients who are there. My only request is have those clients who are transparent with you, who will actually tell you that this particular project, I cannot give you much, I can only give you X amount, but for your next customer, next meet, I can give you much, much more, and have that commitment. Otherwise, there is no point in talking of the point factor. This is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is I have a particular list of 2 people with me for the last 15 years. They just give the straight quotation which they get from the market, the best quotation, and say on top of that 35% management fees. So for example, if something is costing 7,000 rupees, 7,000 is your input cost. On that, I'm going to give you 35% management fees to procure it, to bill it, to supply it, whatever else. So you tell me what your figure is, I'm going to charge 35%. So you have got both ways of looking at it. In fact, I think an internal cost accountant would be much more helpful. But since I was asked this question, these are 2 options that I use and I'm sharing it with you. Sachin, would you like to throw any light on that? Because you yourself are a chartered accountant. Hello, have I lost everybody? Am I alone here?
No, sir. We are all listening to you. Yeah.
Okay, I was just
Okay.
wondering, I mean, after my voice raise, I think the problem started since then. So have I hit the ball out of the ground? Like,
No, not
all
an
is
issue.
lost.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So participants, we are taking up the just 2-3 questions due to time constraint. Okay. So the question is coming. Last 2-3 questions we are taking up. So next question is: will you train a team of 10 to 20 peoples in coming days?
Is that an offer or a question?
It's an offer come question.
Okay. The answer is yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the next question is: I am doing good in the business. My sales team is also on the same line. We both are doing well. Is it advisable to diversify my business or invest in a new business now in this pandemic? Again, in the light of COVID-19.
Sachin, I think you should take that question. I am not fit to take that question because then I will start challenging things like what is good, what is well, and what
Okay.
is comfortable, and does it fit into the line of products and so on and so
Okay.
forth.
Okay. So the participant who has asked this question with the as speaker has asked me to answer that question. Being a chartered accountant, I will suggest that this is not the time to diversify in any other business. Yeah, a little more product or service, little more variation, adding more services in the same line, adding more products in the same line with very low additional cost would be welcome, but not a completely new business. Definitely not. Okay. So today I'm not a speaker, so I will just speak that much. Next question I will have to take. Yeah. The question which was missed, which was a little vague, has been asked by the participant again. That 5 steps plan to improve his customer experience. The plan he was asking as a business owner. So we interpreted it right way that time. So as a business owner, what should be the 5 steps plan to improve my customer experience?
Okay. So the first thing is thank you for getting back to us because when you ask a question to be rephrased, most people say itna bhi samajh mein nahi aata chhod nahi kahan ka speaker laya. So that is one thing. So thank you very much for rephrasing that question and getting back to us. The 5 steps pata nahi if it is 10 steps or 1 step or 2 steps. That means you've got 2 ears, 1 mouth. If I keep talking, I can only keep on telling you what I know. When I listen, I'm listening to 2 points of views coming in. So always, even if you know the answer, listen to your customer, find out. And for this, I'll share a small story when I talk of listening again. There was this boy who was phoning up a customer in the open PCO booth, olden days time, which is about 5-6 years ago when mobile was not so much. He was calling up Mrs. George and saying that I can cut your lawn and I can do this and I can do that. So Mrs. George on the other end was saying, thank you so much, boy. I know it is summertime. I know you want to earn a little bit of money, but I'm very happy with the boy who's cutting my lawn today. So this boy says, but Mrs. George, whatever he's charging, I'll take half of that. I'll take 50% of that. Plus, I will work double time. Instead of 2 hours, which he says he comes, I'll work for 4 hours. So Mrs. George very clearly says, boy, thank you so much. If you want some money, please come, I'll give it to you. But there is no way that I'm changing the boy who's working for me now. He's doing an excellent job. And the phone gets disconnected. The PCO owner feels bad for this boy and says, if you really want some job, I'll give you some job. So the boy says, no, I'm already working for Mrs. George. The PCO owner is a bit puzzled. Then, no, I just want to take a feedback as to how I'm working, Funny, right? How many of us actually get back to our customers and say, how did you find my last delivery? How did you find my last invoice? How did you find my last sales call? How do you find my last service call? How did you find my last email? They're the best people to tell you because they're at the receiving end. They can tell you a lot of things. Why don't we just reach out to our customers and ask them a question? Hello, मैंने feedback चाहिए. जरा बताएंगे where I stand. Because your customer's perception about you is your reality. If the customer thinks you're the best in the world, believe me, you're the best in the world. If he thinks you're no good, believe me, you're no good. Nothing, no amount of marketing can help you there. No amount of marketing, no amount of gimmicks can help you there. It is your perception. So first, get in touch with the customer. Talk to him. Second, get a feedback. Third, get about improving your perception. Fourth, anticipate what he wants in the future. Anticipate. For example, most of us lose businesses because we're not there on the global scale. For example, if I'm a project manager and I'm working with a company called, okay, no company's name, XYZ, at Ranjangaon Phase 3, I know once I'm there that at Rajiv Gandhi Phase 4, they're setting up a new company. Shouldn't I be the first to get it? No, many times I don't even know because I'm not interested. Hence, somebody has said, start being interested in your person's business, in your customer's business. Stop being interesting. Be more interested in that person's business. See how you can contribute further. That visit to the solar fellow to check up whether it has got mud or not is not because to show that you are very interesting. It's to show that you're interested in the welfare of that product and that service of yours. So when you continue that, then you're doing a great job. So those would be the 4 points which I would say. 1, keep in touch with the customer. 2nd, get feedback. 3rd, try to give him more relevant offerings. And 4th, whatever comes to your mind. And when I say whatever comes to your mind, many times it could just start off that tomorrow is my son's birthday, why don't you come home? Not for anything else, just to get to know the family. That's how many of our relationships have gone beyond being just corporate clients. Today, they are some of the best friends that we have got. So instead of 5 steps, I have put 4 steps. Should this work? Let him get back to us or let her get back to us, Sachin, and we'll do something more. Okay?
Yes, sir. Instead of number of states, it matters that what should be the plan. So instead of
No, I
number,
know, but I know what you're saying. We both are on the same page. But बहुत बार ना ऐसे होता है कि वो 4 पॉइंट ही बोला था, मैंने 5 बोला यार, उसने 1 पॉइंट नहीं बताया.
okay. Yes, thank you, sir. Yeah. So we are taking up the last question for the day, and very interesting question in the competitive market actually. He's asking that pricing is the biggest issue because some cheater do some shortcuts in products and services and quotes lower price, and obviously the product is always, and he don't have that much knowledge also, but yet but people go for that product. So how to tackle this issue of the undercutting? He means to say undercutting. So how to tackle that issue?
Sachin, I think you should call that person to our office and we should have a one-to-one with this person. Because the way the question has been drafted, I don't think ये आजकल में answer होगा. We need to instill a lot more belief.
Okay.
But let me just share something with you. Quality speaks for itself. You pay only once. ये जिसने भी लिखा है ना, बहुत सही लिखा है बस. बहुत सही लिखा है. For example, when I got my first cross pen, somebody gifted it to me, and the second time I got it, or when I picked up my Ray-Ban, or when I picked up anything else, I still carry a lifetime warranty. Which means what? Which means if I live to be 130, which I plan to be, that warranty is still valid because it's a lifetime. It's not the company lifetime. It is my lifetime. Imagine the amount of pride that person has. And if you're going to talk like this to your customer, I can't really find a customer who will say, नहीं यार वो बॉल बेयरिंग घस गया तो चलेगा 3 साल में घसना ही चाहिए ना अपने को नहीं तो सेल कहाँ से होगा I don't think that's how Boeing came into the world. I don't think that's how Boeing rules the skies today. Because when they say it's going to have 84 months guarantee, believe me, when they do their first, second, third test, the first test after first year, second test after fourth year, third test after sixth year, and the overall absolute Boeing plane is taken to shreds in the 8th year, you'll be surprised the way things are happening. I mean, at that time, forget that. Just look at your own brake shoes in India. Brake shoes are available from 100 rupees to 1,000 rupees. Your wiper liner for the car is available from 350 rupees to 3,000 rupees. Why would you pick up that? See, undercutting has a particular value. If you want to give something worth and you want to build your brand, I would say don't get into that. A lot of people do it. Let me give you my example. I charge an X amount. People say, बाजू वाला 5,000 में कर रहा है. Sir, he knows his value. He knows his worth. आप उनके पास ही जाइएगा. My worth is so much. Less business comes in. More passionate people come in. And that's how over the years we've been able to build more profitability into our customers. That's where they recall us. So I would say start building your brand. Don't look at people because anybody can get into price cutting. Quality is something that people will remember you for. You know, just a simple thing. Westinghouse, now there's an open thing for everybody. Westinghouse used to come up with those tea makers. I have one of 1903 made of pure steel, whatever pure steel means. It still works. It is still stainless steel or whatever steel it is. It still has not rusted. I'm planning to sell that for 10 lakh rupees. That kettle. We bought it for 100 rupees. My father's father. आज एंटीक बोल के उसका प्राइस है ना. I'm just giving you a very different kind of example. But that's how your product would be known. Otherwise, why would I mention Westinghouse today? If it had not left a brand somewhere.
Okay.
But the invitation to visit Sachin's office, CA Sachin's office still is open and you're welcome for a cup of tea because everybody has a price issue or a product to say that ये pricing में क्या कर सकते हैं आप वहाँ बैठ के बात कर रहे हो. It is okay for you to talk on the Zoom call. आपको कोई लेना देना नहीं है. मुझे दुख हो रहा है, मुझे ये दर्द हो रहा है. I think we need to delve a little more deeper into pricing. It does not happen over. But your confidence needs to be built up for that. And for that, we need to find out how confident are you about your own product. That's where it comes to. When I say product, product and service both. And it's a series of coaching. It's a series of things. It doesn't happen overnight. That's what I'm saying. Thank you so much for asking that question anyways. Yes, Sachin.
Yeah. So that was the last question for the day. So
Okay.
thank you, speaker sir. The biggest takeaway for me from this session is the sales and the sales team is always important. The approach and the inputs given by you are always important, irrespective of COVID, non-COVID. That is the biggest takeaway. So for concluding remarks, I hand over to Mr. Sarang, the host. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Manoj sir, for your valuable time. And Sachin sir for QA session. It was very well defined. First, for all attendees, we have upcoming sessions that are on 28th on finance, 30th on foreign languages, 31st on internet security. It will cover internet security part of cyber security, and 6th one is resume writing. So this is what you can check a screen that what session we have ahead. Thank you very much for your attending this. We also meanwhile thank Manoj sir for valuable time and you are sharing this all information. And thank you to all our session partners.